Coming up on Talk Africa, twin car bombs in Benghazi, Libya kill more than 30 people. And Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi officially launches bid for a second term in office. And U.S. President Donald Trump to meet Rwanda's President Paul Kagame at the World Economic Forum in Davos. It's great to have you on the program. I am Bisi Adebayo. We begin in Libya, where at least 30 people have been killed after two car bombs hit the city of Benghazi. Different reports say 20 to 30 more were injured by the blast, which took place a few minutes apart. The first vehicle blew up in front of a mosque in the central part of the country, while the second exploded about 15 minutes after on the other side of the street. Both military personnel and civilians are among the victims, and if the words of the hospital management is anything to go by, the numbers may rise. Charles Dokubo, who is a senior research fellow at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, is with us for more on this. Glad you could join us on the program.
Nice for having you. Please get my designation right, please.
What would you make of this latest attack in Benghazi?
The fact is that Benghazi has been an ungoverned area. As a result, there are a lot of militias around, so no central authority. Hence, the ability of these fringe groups to carry out attacks in Benghazi.
Now, we understand that both the military personnel and civilians were among the victims. What does this say of security in Libya?
Definitely, security has not been existent in Libya since after the American attack on Libya, because you have factions, no central government, and that Libya has fallen down in terms of, if you are looking at the indices of security, it has fallen down to the lowest. Hence, the ability of fringe groups to attack institutions, to attack vulnerable targets. So definitely, Libya will be in this way until there is a central government that will protect all the citizens of the country.
Now, it's still not clear who was behind today's attack, but the Islamic State has always claimed responsibilities for previous attacks. Thus, this latest attack also points to ISIS.
So ISIS has been disseminated, and then they've gone out and then spread their wings to most other countries that are also broken because of conflict. So if ISIS says that they are the people conducting the attack, I think one should not even bother about that, because they can do it. They have the capacity to do it.
Now, ever since Muammar Gaddafi's death, it appears Libya has not got a functioning government. Actually, Libya has not got a functioning government since then. Why is it so difficult for the country to come out of the effect of the revolutionary struggle of the 2011 Egypt uprising?
The fact is that the way the United States intervened in Libya, it was not trying to build broken nations. They were just trying to deal with the terrorist actions there. That was why Libya is still in this way. No amount of nation-building project has been carried out in Libya. And Libya, in the days of Gaddafi, was even better than what they're experiencing now. So one has to be careful about interventions. Because if there's any intervention, what are the post-conflict situations? How do you build up institutions again to protect people? Libya is an example of a failed state, in where the United States and other members of the international community have failed to address the issue of nation building.
Now, one last question, Professor. How can these attacks be stopped?
There is no silver bullet to contain such attacks. The fact is that these attacks might continue. because you have factions of terrorist organizations within Libya. So how can you can't even fashion out a national security framework to deal with the issue in Libya unless there's a centralized government that will have the monopoly of the use of violence. Then and only then can Libya be nursed back to a state that it used to be.
Professor Charles Dokubo, Senior Research Fellow at the NIA, thanks for speaking with us on Network Africa. Now, engineers in Benghazi are still facing a risky task as they try to make safe the areas that experience protracted urban warfare until the end of 2017. Mines continue to claim lives in Libya's second most populous city as demolition teams work towards a lasting solution.
Military deminers are clearing mined areas in the Libyan city of Benghazi, where loud blasts from explosives and booby traps have become an all-too familiar sound. Mines planted during more than 3 years of war in Benghazi are taking a high toll on under-equipped deminers and residents trying to return to districts where protracted battles once took place. Military engineers striving to clear the explosives lack mine detectors and are working with basic tools in their bare hands. The task is painstaking and extremely dangerous.
Thank God we have completed some of the work, but some of it has yet to be completed due to lack of resources. Most of the time, we come across the Bouncing Betty. The Bouncing Betty is made up of a capsule that is designed to break into many small fragments. Also, there are types of ground-held grenades that have silk at the opening from the top. We've had to deal with this.
The war in Benghazi erupted in 2014 when Libyan commander Khalifa Haftar began battling Islamists and other opponents, part of a broader conflict that spread in Libya after the fall of Muammar Gaddafi 7 years ago. Haftar's Libyan National Army took a final holdout from its rivals in December, but demining can take months. Despite warnings from the military and indications of mined areas scribbled on walls, some long-displaced residents impatient to rebuild their lives have gone home with deadly consequences.
And in Egypt, a former chief of staff in the army, Sami Anan, who began his presidential bid, has called off his campaigns. Anan, who is seen as a major challenger to President al-Sisi, made this decision following his arrest after he declared his intention to run for president in next month's elections. According to the armed forces, Mr. Anan's announcement of his candidacy is a severe violation of Egypt's military code. The military says his decision constitutes a direct incitement against the armed forces with the intent of causing a rift between it and the Egyptian people. But analysts say that he is seen as a potential threat to the re-election of Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Meanwhile, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has officially launched his bid for a second term in office, submitting documents for registration as a candidate for the forthcoming election. Mr. al-Sisi won the election in a landslide in 2014 after leading the army in ousting Muslim Brotherhood's Mohammed Morsi a year earlier. He becomes the first candidate to register officially for the election set for March the 26th to the 28th. Critics say Sisi's popularity has been damaged by austerity reforms, security problems, and a crackdown on dissidents, but he is expected to win the election comfortably. Away from Egypt now, U.S. President Donald Trump is set to meet Rwanda's President Paul Kagame at the World Economic Forum Summit in Davos. According to a schedule released by his national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, Kagame is the only African leader he's billed to meet at the summit. The meeting, scheduled for Friday, comes amid a political backlash against Mr. Trump, who alleged contemptuous remarks against African states as a closed-door meeting on immigration policy, an allegation he has since denied. Mr. Trump's meeting with Kagame, who is the current chairman of the African Union, is expected to reaffirm U.S.-Africa relationship and discuss shared priorities, including trade and security. South Africa's anti-apartheid veteran Winnie Madikizela Mandela has been hospitalized for a kidney infection in Johannesburg. According to local media, the 81-year-old ex-wife of late President Nelson Mandela has been in and out of hospital since 2016. Ms. Madikizela Mandela campaigned for the release of her ex-husband during his 27-year imprisonment. She fought against apartheid and for the rights of black South Africans undergoing arrest and banishment. And staying in South Africa, the judiciary says it's unable to start an inquiry into alleged corruption because President Jacob Zuma is yet to finalize the terms of reference. But sources from the South African government insist the presidency is working on it and the matter is getting the urgency it requires. The opposition Democratic Alliance, which had previously accused Zuma of corruption, say the 2-week delay suggests Zuma's intent to stall the investigation. President Zuma has been docked with a series of corruption allegations, which he has consistently denied. In the meantime, the Western Cape province of Cape Town is in the middle of a serious drought. The Water Corporation has moved up day zero when taps are expected to run dry to April the 12th. Many residents are going over the limit despite being told to use less than 15 liters of water a day. Much of the southern Africa has been recovering from a drought caused by the El Niño weather phenomenon following heavy summer rains. However, Cape Town is still gripped by drought and has had very low rainfall for the last 3 years. Joining us now is Dr. Adewale Adetoji, who is a PhD researcher at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology. He is also currently working on water conservation projects. Thanks for joining us on the program. Now, this is a very serious issue for Cape Town, but what does day zero mean and what has it brought about the city?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. Day zero in Cape Town is a critical thing. So what it means is that the level of the dam is critically low. Low as in we are talking about 30.5% of water level. So with this, it does not mean there's no more water in the dam, but just shows that it's very low. So the city of Cape Town will have to turn off most tap water, thereby leaving just vital services to access water. This is an institution like this, the suburbs and various parts of the country, we have to go to a particular point to take water. And it's also going to affect a lot of things like schools. Most of the schools do not have water, so they might be even forced to close, especially the primary and the high schools, even the universities. Business we have to stay shut down as well if they don't have alternative water supply. Thank you.
Now, water rationing has been further reduced, but has that helped the situation in any way?
I can't really say. What we are thinking about here is while some people are trying to manage the water, we still have larger perspectives of some other people who don't even know what is happening. For example, maybe the students staying in the residence in the higher institutions and other public residences. I don't know how they're going to manage that or restrict them. So that I don't think that's really happened. Then if managing the water has been really working, the stress of managing water every day won't have been this much. And it's in the farms as well. In the farms, because most farms are using water, like most of us now in the agricultural sector, we still use a lot of water. So we can't really say more particularly because it really helps the situation.
Now, let's look at how the situation came to be in the first place. The El Niño weather phenomenon is said to be the major cause of this drought. For some of our viewers who may not know, could you please tell us what exactly is this phenomenon?
Yeah, it's a climatic change whereby warming of the surface temperature happens. So in situations like this, it affects the atmospheric circulation, which will also lead to the reduction in rainfall, definitely. And if rainfall reduces, it's really going to affect the water in a particular place, which is really affecting Cape Town right now, and it's leading to drought. So it's really something to work on. So that's all about it.
Dr. Adewale Adetunji, PGD researcher at Cape Peninsula University of Technology. Thanks for speaking with us on the program. Well, still to come on Network Africa, engineers from Kenya's University of Nairobi put the country on the spotlight. Do stay with us.